Middle of January, 2 major sales, 2 outgoing loans, and no new signings. Oh, and we're about to play Real Madrid. All change, please. Greetings, my excellent friends, and welcome back to Club 3, Part 14 of the Director of Moneyball. I'm Kirk Sheridan, and at least the dynamics have improved. Given how things looked in the last episode with all that unrest in the dressing room, we now have a very good club atmosphere and good managerial support. And how happy am I about that? Because it took until November for everyone to stop siding with the player who'd left on loan almost 3 months beforehand. After those matches I showed you in the last episode, the Fulham and Zagreb matches, which we won both of, we went 7 league matches in a row without a win. Lost 3-0 at Wolves, drew 1-1 at home with Liverpool, beaten 3-2 away at West Ham, drew 1-1 at home to Man United, drew 2-2 away from home at Southampton, drew at home against Bournemouth, and then lost away from home against Brentford. Things were not going well. But about 2 days before this Leicester match, all of a sudden about 2/3 of the squad suddenly forgot they'd ever had a problem, and since that point things have looked much, much better. We had dropped as low as 17th during that dreadful early season run of form, but we're now back up to 6th place, and we've even got a game in hand on the clubs ahead of us, so if we win that game in hand, we could actually go 5th, which I think, given how devastated morale was at the start of the season, is nothing short of a miracle. So as you can see, there's a lot to catch up on in this episode. This man, Anthony Clark, has been up to some serious business on the training pitch. So please do help me out, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then sit back and relax, because I'm going to take you through how things have played out so far this season. After my usual investigation into the form pages for each of these players to find out how many games they've played, what kind of positions they've tended to line up in, this is the most common starting lineup that Anthony Clark has picked so far this year. We've lined up with that 4-3-3 that has never changed. Christensen in goal as a sweeper keeper. Bruce Smith and Koskan both playing fullback. Now, you remember last year we changed to wing-backs, but this year we've reverted to the full-backs that worked so well for us in the Championship. And we finally started playing with a ball-playing defender. Since Keiki came in, he has made that role his own and normally lined up alongside Vico as a no-nonsense centre-back. But as you can see, they haven't actually formed a very good partnership, and I suspect that had something to do with our pretty poor early season form. Ledo has continued to lock down that defensive midfield spot though, despite being a playmaker rather than a natural defender. And then in midfield, despite being injured at the moment, Luka Sucic has generally had the Mezzala role to himself, and Reader has often played alongside him as an advanced playmaker, or even at times a roaming playmaker. Rukavina on the left has generally been picked ahead of others as an inside forward, and McNamee has just been a revelation on the right as an inside forward, and Roque, when fit, has played up front as the advanced forward. The other player who has played a lot of football is Hannibal, but he's actually been shuffled around a lot. Because of injuries to Roque, to Orteza, he's been basically swapping between central midfield and that left wing. Sucic has been our highest performer so far with a 7.07 average. McNamee not too far behind him with a 7.02, and in fact McNamee is our current top scorer with 10 goals. And because of all those new names in the starting lineup, you can see a lot of familiar names on the bench. Vinicius, club captain, has just been a backup to Bruce Smith all season. Caligari has played second fiddle to Koskan. Mabude very much a rotation option for McNamee. Orteza really suffered from injury. Anderson Pino coming in as a backup for Vico and Keiki primarily. And Bajcetic has only started 1 match, but I have actually extended his contract because now we're in Europe. He's actually very helpful as a homegrown in-nation player. If you are eagle-eyed though, you may have spotted some big names missing from that squad sheet, and that's because we have already been busy. It's the middle of January, and we've had some major outgoings. Joachim Fischer, our free transfer signing at the end of his Bayern contract a couple of years ago, has moved on loan to Rayo Vallecano with a £12.5 million option to buy, and in fact 40% of the next sale after that as well. So that could be another glorious piece of business for this director of Moneyball. Last year's vice-captain Smolcic has moved to AZ on loan because he just was not getting any game time, and he's one of the few players we've actually got in the peak of their career, so he wanted to get as many minutes as he could. They have a £7 million option to buy him, but the biggest pieces of news: Largi Ramazzani has departed. He was one of those players earlier in the season who was very unhappy about what happened with the Mabude contract situation that never was. I might finally be over it now that things have settled down. But he was approaching his peak years as a 27-year-old, not featuring in the first team anywhere near as much as he had in the previous 2 years. So £17.5 million from Brentford to get £93,000 a week of wages off our bill felt like an absolute no-brainer decision. So Ramazzani has moved on, and the biggest news of all, Sivert Mansverk has left for Benfica for a director of Moneyball record sale. He was quality for us in the Premier League last year, of course, and the year before that in the Championship. Great when he played this season in the league, but only started 6 matches for us. So that profit was far too good to turn down. We signed him for £4.1 million. Benfica have bought him for at least £40.5 million, with potential add-ons taking it up to 51. That is an incredible piece of business. And all of that has left us with a quite frankly ludicrous £74 million to spend in this transfer window. Worth noting, I've also been able to negotiate the board up to 95% of our transfer revenue retained, so we are in a very, very good position. However, finding high quality first team ready Moneyball signings in January is proving very, very tricky. I do have, for the first time, elite level players showing an interest in actually playing for Everton, but their prices are prohibitive. I'm not really willing to go out and spend 40 to 50 million pounds on a player. I'd much rather find someone who is slightly lower current ability, but with that high resale value if they develop further over time. So this transfer window for me is all about potential, and I have been completely abusing one of my favourite routes to Moneyball signings: release clauses. Alexander Pintado was available for £4.3 million. Plays in Uruguay, really broke into his club's first team squad last season, and would in theory come in as the second best defender at the club. Dragan Kvetkovic I'm really excited by because of his versatility as a defender and that deep line ball winning midfielder, a role that, to be honest, I've wanted to be able to fill for a good couple of years in this team. His release clause was £15.75 million. And look at his teamwork, his work rate, his stamina, his determination. Although he doesn't have a huge amount of technical ability, this guy will absolutely work his socks off, train hard, and become the very best player he can possibly be. And already has a decent amount of first team football under his belt over the last few years, which of course is an absolute essential criteria for any good Moneyball signing. Now, with Matt Whittles from Derby County, a £16 million release clause, I'm raiding the Championship again. It's proven to be one of my favourite tactics, and he is yet another 20-year-old wonder kid, and in this case could become the next Declan Rice. 15 under-21 caps already, high-quality performances in central midfield for Derby over the last couple of seasons, and 4.5-star potential ability. Our fourth potential pending signing is Sinisa Markovic. 3-star ability currently, but 5-star potential. Another who's really broken into his first team squad in the last couple of years, but played fantastically this season in particular. And another natural ball winner in the centre of midfield who can also play in that deeper role. And finally, for £7.25 million, I may get this pronunciation completely wrong, Jada Jesus Cuellar. Deep line playmaker in central midfield, high work rate, amazing technique, beautiful passing and vision and balance. And yes, I know I've said time and time again they are overrated, but when they're available for a release clause like this, you just gotta go and pick up the Wonder Kids, don't you? Especially when they're playing as well this season as this guy is. So that is £50 million worth of potential signings that are on the go right now. Still room for a goalkeeper or another defensive midfielder if one crops up. And I am preparing for more outgoings. Young Hugo Pearce, who's not really good enough to get into the team, is likely to be leaving permanently this window. Emirhan Ilkan, we're looking to at least double our money on if he joins Gladbach. And Caligari is probably on his way back to Brazil. Flamengo want to take him on loan with a £6.1 million option to buy. And he will probably be the first player that I've signed at Everton who will make a loss on. And I think given the number of players that we've signed and the success rate that we've had, that's a pretty good hit rate. Now, I have actually signed a new contract recently, so I am locked in as DOF at Everton for another 2.5 years, and the board are just absolutely over the moon. Now that we're back in the top half of the Premier League, they are absolutely delighted. But that could all change quite quickly, because we are up against European royalty in our next match, the mighty Real Madrid, and it's Anthony Clark facing Carlo Ancelotti. You know what, in terms of attributes, he holds his own. The odds suggest this will be a little bit tricky, however. Real Madrid have won their last 5 matches. Our form is decidedly ropey. We're going to get absolutely battered, aren't we? Oh my word, look at the average ratings their squad are bringing in so far this season. That is incredible. They're first place in La Liga, a goal difference of 32. Oh my word, yeah, we're not coming away from this with any points, so I think I'll stay on Merseyside for this one and just continue my director of football duties in the background. Yeah, good luck, Anthony. Good luck, team. See you in a couple of days when you get home. Oh my word, that is going to go down in history. 0-0 at the Bernabeu? I mean, they were absolutely all over us the entire match. That momentum is not pretty, but Christensen got a 7.2 rating. We managed to get a shot on target. And what a tactical decision this was, playing Vico in the centre of midfield. Now, he's played in defence pretty much all year. He has not played in midfield once for Anthony Clark previously, but that looks like a tactical decision that paid off. 100% pass completion rate, 100% of his tackles completed, and our third highest performing player on the night. Anthony Clark's a clever one. Well, a few days later, it's Chelsea and Graham Potter up next. And might we be able to squeeze one new signing into that matchday squad? Markovic is confirmed he's joining us. Let's accept that deal. And oh my word, he comes in even better than expected. He was supposed to be a 3-star player. He's 4-star. We've got an A- rating from the fans for that deal, which is the first time I've seen an A in my time at Everton. And yes, look at that. He is the best player in the squad straight away. Valued up to £87 million. And we paid 6.25 for him. I cannot wait to see what this lad can do. Absolutely amazing. And before we even head out onto the pitch at Stamford Bridge for a warm-up, here's the deal that makes space for Markovic in the squad. Ilkan is signing for Gladbach. £18 million minimum, potential for it to go up to 20. So that's at least a £10 million profit. Another cracking Moneyball deal. Well, there's the result against Chelsea. Similar looking match to the one we played against Real Madrid. Much higher XG for the opposition, much higher possession. Far more significant match momentum, but this time we did concede 1 goal. Look at that, Markovic did come straight into the team and was actually our highest performing player. Considering we only signed him 28 hours before that match kicked off, I'd say that's quite a legendary debut for Markovic. Look at the condition of those players compared to Chelsea's. We had a lot of tired legs out there. Bruce Smith, Reeder, McNamee, Roque, all looking absolutely shattered, and Rukavina actually picked up an injury. Out for 2 to 3 weeks, potentially with fractured ribs, so let's get him to a specialist. We want him back as soon as possible, please. Right, a few days later, Cuellar is the next wonder kid who is about to join us. And there is confirmation, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential, B+ rating from the fans, and our second great replacement for Mansverk. Very closely followed by Matt Whittles, and he's another 3-star wonder kid with 5-star potential. And they just keep rolling in. Alexander Pintado is now confirmed. He has 4-star potential ability, but another wonder kid. And this is quite a remarkable transfer window for the prices I'm getting all of these young players. Caligari is also finalising that move to Flamengo, so we might be saying farewell to one of our stalwarts from the Championship season. But let's not worry about that too much, because up next we are playing Monaco at home in the Champions League. This is our final match in the league stage. We're sitting in 18th place at the moment with 11 points. So I'd like to think if we can at least get a draw today, we should probably qualify for that next knockout round, which, considering we were in the Championship just a year and a half ago, is just a ludicrous thing to say. And my word, we do better than draw. We actually beat Monaco 2-0. This was a match I did not expect us to win when these fixtures were drawn. Look at the quality of performances from the players. Wow! Mabude was playing up front because of our injuries, and Vinicius played a beautiful ball for Roque, and he floated a great cross over for Mabude, who is not a tall guy, to actually head in at the far post. And then late in the match, Mabude charged downfield after switching over to the right flank and crossed the ball for Rowley to score on his first team debut in the Champions League. That's right, he came on in the 80th minute. He has not played a first team match before, and 5 minutes later he scores the goal that incredibly seals Everton's place in the knockout stage of the Champions League. I'm not sure I will ever have a director of football save quite as remarkable as this Everton one with Anthony Clark. Well, the next day, concluding our transfer business, Kvekovic signs for Everton, and that's all 5 of my target signings landed without any competition from other clubs. Markovic, obviously the standout. How he was not on any other club's radar, I have no idea, and I'm not complaining, because this guy, I suspect he's going to have quite the career. Right, 27th of January now, less than a week to go until the deadline, and we are about to play Crystal Palace at home. We are favourites for this match, and Christensen is on the verge of a clean sheet record. Heddle managed 13 clean sheets for us after he joined us in the Championship. Christensen has 13 already. Can he get another clean sheet against Palace? Yes, he can. Wow, this transfer window keeps getting better. 2 goals from Luka Sucic, and we pick up a 2-0 victory. Quality performances all over the pitch, but Sucic was absolutely the man of the moment, playing as a mezzala and bursting forward into goal-scoring positions. That was an absolute quality finish with his left foot for the first goal in just the 8th minute. And then Mabude played him in again. A beautiful run and then a quality finish into the bottom corner. Sealed the points. Worth noting as well, a lot of changes in the spine of the team for that match. Pintado, Whittles, Kvekovic, Cuellar, all starting for us. So I think Clark is resting a few players for our game in hand. Those 3 points put us up to 8th, and if we do win that game in hand, we will go 5th. I'm not massively hopeful though, because we're playing Arsenal, and yeah, they're looking quite a bit better than us this year. Oh, and did I mention we're playing them on deadline day as well? It's going to be quite a busy day for this director of football, I think. Well, the draw has just been made for the knockout playoff round of the Champions League, and we've been drawn against Ajax, who beat us in the group stage. It was a 3-2 defeat away at Ajax, so it's not insurmountable to think that we could potentially get a result at home. But, you know, this is Ajax. They win things a lot. Well, we're just a few hours away from deadline day. I'm doing my usual review of our scouting reports, and I've spotted another potential Moneyball signing. A 25-year-old, 3.5-star current ability player with an A scout rating who's available for £13 million from Levante. Left inverted winger, can also play on the right wing or central midfield. Many years of first team experience at a reasonable level. And a good Premier Division player who likes big matches and is consistent. I mean, he does tick all of my boxes. We don't need him right now, though. We've got plenty of depth on the left wing. So let's add him to our shortlist and check back in again in the summer. And we have arrived, January transfer deadline day, and there are some absolutely crazy rumours about the kind of money that the media think we're going to spend on players. £123 million, £89 million, £91 million. Now, all of these players are on my shortlist, so they've got that bit right, but I don't think they've been keeping track of my actual spending habits. There's only a bit of interest being shown in a couple of our players at the moment, so I think we're done. I can't see there'll be any further business for us today, and worth noting as well that with that Arsenal match coming up, I need to go on holiday at 8 o'clock. So if there is going to be any business, it needs to be concluded early anyway. Definitely a quiet day in the offing. Well, hands up if you saw this one coming. You know me better than I do. I couldn't resist. I've gone in for Malero. He's a 3-star player currently, playing close to his full potential, but adds more depth. And given he's valued up to 31 million already, another great asset for us to sell for a profit in future. So, yeah, that's it. I'm properly done now, promise. And there we go. I really was done the second time round. It's 8 o'clock now. We're about to play Arsenal. I need to go on holiday, so cannot be involved in any further transfer business, even if I wanted to. So let's hand over to the head coaches for the big match. Anthony Clark versus Thomas Tuchel. Arsenal in second place in the league. Well, no pressure, Anthony. Good luck. I don't believe it. We've got another 1-0 victory, and we've beaten Arsenal. Arsenal, who are in second place in the league, playing fantastically this season, have come to the Bramley Moordock Stadium, had 62% possession, but had fewer shots than us, and we've done them. Man of the match performance from that man Markovic, who set up McNamee for the winner. And I'll tell you what, it was a quality through ball. Took out 3 Arsenal defenders with 1 pass. And a beautiful tight finish from McNamee on the angle there. Wow. I genuinely can't believe that. That's an incredible result. Malero made his debut in that game as well. And that was an even quicker turnaround than Markovic in his first match. Malero signed less than 8 hours before we kicked off against Arsenal. Look at this league table now. We move up to 5th place. There are 3 teams level on 42 points with just 3 goals separating the goal difference. Fulham are just 2 points behind in 8th place. And we're actually only 2 points behind Chelsea. This is going to be quite the fight for Europe. But in other news, of course, the deadline has passed. We spent £63 million this window and received £79 million. I make it 6 first-team players out and 6 first-team players in. And I got to say, I really like the look of this squad for the rest of the season, particularly because Markovic is now a leading Premier Division player. Remember, this is a guy who I thought I was signing as a 3-star up-and-coming youngster. No, he's the best player in our team. And the first leading Premier League quality player I've had in this entire save. What a bargain signing that was. Our wage bill is continuing to creep up, now £2 million a week, but with only the 11th biggest salary spenders in the division, and the media is still predicting a 10th place finish. So given our current league position, we are still punching well above our weight. And look at this as well. Earlier in the season, we had an average age of about 23. With those incomings and outgoings this window, it's dropped even further. Average age of our squad is just 22.63 years old. Only 5 players at their peak age, a huge amount of emerging talent, some young up-and-comers who are only going to get better with time. I mean, wow. There are some epic scale profits to be made on these players, if nothing else. But I tell you what, if we can keep some of them together, this could be a team to be properly reckoned with in the years ahead. And in 6 days' time, we're going away to Ajax. And that feels quite fitting. Ajax, who are famed for developing youth, who are famed for bringing through a production line of young talent. I know we're going about it in a slightly different way. We're signing players rather than developing them internally. But Give it time. I'm onto that as well. And the time has arrived. We are just about to kick off against Ajax. Some good news ahead of that match. Fabian Rieder is now happy to stay at Everton. He had wanted to leave for some time after a big value offer from Real Madrid. But now that no one else has offered anywhere near the top end of his market value, he's happy to stay with us. And that's great, because he is still the second best midfielder at the club. We do have a few players who were upset about being left out of the Champions League squad, though, most notably Matt Whittles, who I've somehow managed to promise to register in the next time there is an opening for the Champions League squad registration. So basically I'll make sure he's registered if we get into Europe next year, I guess. What was I supposed to do? We signed 6 players. I can only register 3 new ones. So here we go. First leg, knockout playoff round. 1 goal deficit at the end of this match would do nicely. 2 goal deficit. It is that we take back to the Bramley Moor Docks Stadium. XG in possession wasn't that dissimilar, but the momentum was completely in Ajax's favour the entire match. Wow, we rested Markovic. Yeah, Markovic came on in the 81st minute. That's a big call there from Anthony Clark. I wonder how much that had to do with the final result. And you know what? Looking at the quality of the chances we conceded here, I think we have to consider ourselves unlucky. The first goal was an absolute thunderbolt for Ajax. Nothing that the goalkeeper could do about that. And the second one was incredibly unfortunate. The Ajax player just managed to kind of steal behind our defender on the line. And the third goal was just so unlucky. It was actually a great save first off that Christensen parried, unfortunately, to the Ajax player. If it had gone anywhere else in that box, we'd have cleared it easily. But we did manage to get a consolation with a quality finish from Vitor Roque. So it's not all lost. I mean, how can I not have hope? We've won our last 4 matches at home, beaten Southampton, Monaco, Palace and Arsenal. We are in with a shout in this home leg. And just to prove that point, the team go and absolutely batter Tottenham at home the match beforehand. What a quality result this is. A 9.6 rating from McNamee, who ludicrously only played for 56 minutes. I mean, yes, Tottenham had some momentum at the end of the match, but by that point we didn't really need to try anymore, did we? 20 shots, 7 on target, but it was pretty much the McNamee show to start off with. I mean, what a cross from Bruce Smith, but also a fantastic header from McNamee. And then a beautiful, beautiful bit of pressing there to steal the ball off of the defender and just rifle the ball. And our last goal was also a thing of beauty, a fantastic lofted through ball from Sucic, and then Malero just taking it down beautifully, deftly flicking it past the goalkeeper. There is no better way to go into a Champions League match where we need to make up a 2-0 deficit than that kind of result. So, here we are. Biggest match of the year so far. Worth noting that after results went our way over the weekend, we've actually crept up into 4th place in the league. Can we, however, progress to the round of 16 in the Champions League? There's only one way to find out, my friends. I am going on holiday. We're returning the following morning. We're going to check in and see how our team has performed. Is it possible? Have we been able to secure that result? Oh, so close. Oh, we did beat Ajax at home, but it was a 2-1 victory. We weren't even able to take it to extra time. Oh, that's so disappointing. Particularly given that we were on top the entire match, looking at that momentum. 17 shots, 5 on target, way higher XG. Oh, this one stings. Looks like a very frosty night, so very, very difficult conditions to play in. Mabude managed to set up Roque for our first goal, but tell you what, for the equaliser, very, very disappointing from Christensen. He should have done a lot better with this. Bergwijn just shot straight at him and Christensen just let it parry through his legs or past his arm. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but he should have done an awful lot better. Rieder did his absolute best to get us back and in front again in the match. But that was it. That was the best that we could do. And we are out of the Champions League after a 4-3 aggregate defeat Helpfully, Whittles is no longer concerned about being left out of the Champions League squad. That's good to know. And we received £8 million just for playing in that phase of the competition. Wow. There's a ludicrous amount of money involved in this competition. Hannibal, and I'm sure a lot of other players now, needs a rest. We have played a lot of football through January and early February. We've covered pretty much a month's worth of matches in this one episode alone. But despite being out of Europe, the fight to get back in it again next year is still on. We're in 4th place, and the Premier League is the only competition we need to be concerned about for the rest of the season. And that fills me with joy because this squad is getting better and better. We have quality players who are improving all the time, and we do have the best head coach the world has ever seen. So we shall return for the final 2 matches of the season to see what position we can secure and whether once again, against all the odds, Champions League football next year? If anyone can do it, Anthony Clark can. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've watched today. It's been a pleasure to share with you. If you have, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on to find out the second the next video drops. And in the meantime, as always, please be excellent to each other. I'm Kirk Sheridan. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Champions League, here we come. Come on.